So, Syl, welcome to Babylon.
Thanks for having me here.
You're very welcome. How long have you been in Ireland?
Came here 2002, so that's 21 years now, say like.
All right, and what did you think when you arrived?
After coming from Sweden to Ireland, a bit of kind of culture shock, like in the sense where Sweden was like kind of seen as a metropolitan city, like pretty high level compared to, we say, Ireland. So kind of like readapting to like not wearing salmon or like leather jackets or kind of be like a Stockholm swag when you're living out in the countryside. Kind of took me a while to readjust, you know. All
right. What surprised you most? You said it was a culture shock. What?
Yeah, it's like it was a phase in the early 2000s. People only wear kind of Gap jumpers, like you remember that, like GAPs, like, you know. And it's like I was like, what is this, like, you know? And like back home we were wearing like, you know, Alpha Industry Buffalo shoes. Like it was like we were very kind of like brand aware from a young age, like, you know, because it is pretty like fashionable country, like, you know. So that was kind of one like take I took from kind of like readjusting, apart from the actual culture and the foods and the language and everything else. Like,
well, speaking of culture, what did you think of the music scene when you arrived?
Took me a while to get in. I say like I came here 2002. Around 2004, I started kind of hanging around with like good guys, like, you know, like one of them would be like Reen Ryan. It's like used to like bring me out when I was like 17 or so, 18. Used to bring me out to Traffic. Oh, yeah. Not Twisted Pepper, not Wigwam, Traffic.
That's where the gig is next
year. On Thursdays for Electric City. I can't remember the last now. But yeah, so that was kind of my first exposure of like Dublin underground electronic like nightclub scene, and it was like Detroit techno. It was a lot of techno, like, you know.
So when did you get into DJing?
Got into DJing like from, say, actually got into DJing when I was about 18 after my leaving cert. I got my first turntables. But like the influence kind of came from like my older brothers and my cousins, especially, like that was very involved with like producing music and DJing, especially like probably more urban music. But say around like 2004, 5. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And where did you gig in those days?
Those days, but like start off like in house parties in the Minute, and kind of like getting into actual like getting your records in order and your music and try to figure out what you like or don't like, you know. And that's like it takes a bit of a journey, especially in those days when we say YouTube or like accessibility of endless playlists was not as easy, like, you know. The platforms weren't there at the time, like, so. But actually get my first gigs and start playing, I say it was years later, because like 2014.
All right.
Yeah.
And where have you played since then?
Since then, I played like pretty much most clubs in Dublin, I have to say. Like, start off in Pygmalion, and then start kind of getting into running my own events. Used to have local heroes, Balls Deep in the mix, the Dirt Castle. So I had a few brands I used to run different events in, and been involved with different collectives like the Early Shift, which was like legendary, like early house, like the party of the after party of the after party that starts 6 a.m. that finished 4 p.m. kind of job, like. So that was pretty, you know. Some people are gonna call that, like.
That sounds good. And what are you doing these days?
These days, like, you know, I have my like starting this new pet project called Berlin Acid Party. It's kind of just like a concept of like having like a house party vibe with like just good electronic music. So basically, like, depending on the space and the venue, can be from, say, having a techno night, having like I don't know, psytrance, Goa trance night, or just kind of have like, or if you have a multi-room venues, you can kind of choreograph it, or what's called, choreograph in a way where you have different vibes in different rooms for different peoples, and eventually like people can like get educated from different sounds in it, you know.
Good idea. All right, and what have you got coming up in the future?
Actually have a gig next 10 days, returning back to my old stomping grounds in Traffic, playing for Babylon Radio for our techno party, like
in Wigwam.
Wigwam. It's gonna be actually, yeah, it's been fun. It's gonna be fun. I haven't had a moment there. It's been a long time having a good moment there, so look forward to this, you know.
Cool. And where can people find you?
I do have an Instagram, catch me on Syl Black. It's pretty much SYL Black.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that then. All right, it was great to have you.
Good, pleasure.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much.
See you next week.